All right. Our first question that we have with that lunar eclipse coming up is what is a lunar eclipse?
So, we've all heard about solar eclipses when the moon is covering the face of the sun and we're in the shadow. A lunar eclipse is kind of the opposite. It's when the moon is passing into the Earth's shadow. And the benefit of a lunar eclipse is you'll see the moon darken and maybe turn a little bit red, and it might be in totality for an hour or more as opposed to just a few minutes in a solar eclipse.
So the time frame is definitely a little bit different to kind of enjoy a lunar eclipse rather than the solar eclipse.
That's right. And the nice thing about lunar eclipses is you don't have to be in just one little narrow band on the Earth to see it. Anyone on the side of the Earth that's facing a full moon will see the eclipse, provided it's clear, of course.
Yes. So beyond the weather, let's at least talk about our location here in mid Michigan. Are we going to have a good chance to see this?
Yes, we won't see the entire eclipse. We will get to see the whole totality phase. What I mean is that it's going to take place right before sunrise during dawn. So the full moon, the totally eclipsed moon, will be very low to the western horizon. And just as it's setting is when the moon would normally start gradually coming out of the shadow, but that's okay. The best part is totality, and we get to see it.
So at least we get kind of the headline event from this one. Now,
Right.
is this going to be a total or a partial eclipse?
This is a total lunar eclipse. And so what'll happen is you'll see the curved edge of the shadow of the Earth, sorry, flat earthers, that advances across the face of the moon between about 4 and 5 a.m. So it takes about an hour for the moon to completely cast or follow into the shadow. Then between about 5 and 6 a.m., it'll be in what's called totality. Now, it won't look completely red across the entire face because it's not in the center of the shadow. It'll seem red on reddish on one end and orangish on the other.
Okay, so when we are in totality, which is what we're going to be able to see here in mid Michigan, we won't have that red hue during that hour-long time frame. That's going to be on the ends of it, correct?
You will get to see some of the red, but it won't be red all the way across
Okay.
because the deeper you go into the shadow, the darker and redder it gets. But because this particular eclipse doesn't go right through the center of the shadow, it'll be a little bit orangish on one end. But if you were on the moon, the Earth would still completely eclipse the sun.
Okay. It's still good to know, even though we're not able to make it to the moon to check this one out. But explain how that red coloring works and even just kind of that light refraction.
The Earth has an atmosphere, very thin, but if you were on the moon looking at the Earth when it covers over the sun, you would see a really bright reddish orange ring all the way around the Earth. That's the sun that's being passing through the Earth's atmosphere. And of course, it passes the reds and oranges because it's almost like being in twilight all the way around that edge.
Okay, so then because we're shining that through that shadow, that's how we're getting that red color.
Right. So it's really a product of the Earth's atmosphere that creates and pushes the red colors onto the moon.
All right, so that's good to know because I know we see a lot of headlines of blood moon or
Hmm.
just kind of all of these different moon events that happen. So to actually know the expectation. So for this event, will we have any of it looking like there was a bite taken out of the moon, or this is more just kind of looking for that red coloring on the side for folks who are hoping to get something exciting?
Right. So when the eclipse starts, it has to go through or it has to enter the Earth's shadow. That takes about an hour. So it'll look like there's a curved bite moving slowly across the phase of the moon until about 5 a.m. when it will be completely immersed in the shadow. And there's when you'll get the red and orange colors.
Okay, so we kind of get a little bit of everything with this one.
Yeah, it's a nice way to see. The only part we miss is when the moon is coming out of the shadow, but that's okay. That's not nearly the most exciting part. So we'll be okay.
Okay, that's good to know. And we're talking about the timing. So for folks here in mid-Michigan, what are the time frames that we need to set an alarm to maybe get up to watch this?
So right before 5 a.m. is when you'll see the dark shadow of the Earth beginning to advance across the face of the moon, the partial phase. So anytime between about 4:50 and about 6 o'clock, you'll have the partial phases. And then actually it's between 6 and 7 a.m. Sorry, I misspoke. That totality takes place because right after 7 a.m. is sunrise. So the
Yeah.
moon will be very low on the western horizon during that dawn period.
Okay, so kind of keep our eyes close to the horizon. Of course, being safe though, once that sun's up, then it's, game over as far as viewing.
Yeah, you'll see the sun or the moon go down. The thing that's critical is you got to find a place with a nice low western horizon. So maybe you're on a lake, maybe you're looking out over a large farm field or looking out over the bay. As long as the western horizon has a good clear view all the way as far down as you can get it, then you should have no problem.
Okay, so if we have maybe some tall trees that are in kind of our western view, that could maybe be a little bit of a hindrance.
Oh yeah, definitely, because the moon is going to get really low to the horizon. The totality phase doesn't end until right about sunrise, which means it's setting.
Okay, so that's a good thing to know for folks to where maybe they just want to go to a friend's house and get a good kind of, viewpoint there rather than, seeing maybe just some trees or a building next door.
That's right.
Yeah, so
And
something
that's
good.
one of the reasons why, if it's clear, we'll have observing on our rooftop observation deck, starting at 5 a.m. and ending at 7 a.m., provided the skies are clear, of course. And that way, we get up high above the skyline up on our rooftop so we can see all the way to the horizon.
Okay, so we have a couple of hours here. So again, kind of set your alarm clock for about 4:50 and head out there, and then we have a couple hours of viewing.
Correct.
All right. I just want to make sure that we have that alarm and even our crews. I know we'll have some folks that are awake so that they know to take a look outside. Hopefully, again, we'll have those clear skies to take this in. In case we don't have clear skies, when can we expect the next lunar eclipse to be visible here in mid-Michigan?
Well, now that's the funny thing. You can get as many as two lunar eclipses per year. They may be partial, they may be total, but you still have to be on the right side of the Earth. And unfortunately for Michigan, we don't get to see another total lunar eclipse until 2029. So
Oh,
this might be your last chance for a little while. There might be some partial eclipses between now and then, but you really want that total, so it's completely immersed.
yeah, this is kind of the bigger of the events, just kind of like how the total solar eclipse are kind of the big ones there, very similar than in comparison than for a lunar eclipse.
Mhm. Now, the good news about the next one coming up in 29, that's one of the best in about 70 years because it will pass almost directly through the center of the Earth's shadow, which will make it really dark.
Oh, okay. So we will mark our calendars
Mark your calendar.
2029 and to make sure that we can kind of keep that note to if we miss out on this one, that we can hopefully catch that one. Is there anything else that people need to be aware of if they're going to try to catch this, or is there any even some other scientific facts that I forgot to ask you about?
So the neat thing about lunar eclipses is if you have binoculars and you look at the eclipsed moon, you will still see some lunar features. Because yes, the surface is dark, but it's not a black shadow, like I said, because of the Earth's atmosphere. So what's really neat is you can look and see the reddish landscape of the moon, the mountains and plains and craters. And so that can be an added treat.
Yes. And speaking of that, if we maybe don't have any gear or equipment, we can still take this in with our bare eyes, correct?
Absolutely. A lunar eclipse is completely different from solar because the sun's not in the sky. And so it's completely safe to look at, especially when it's eclipsed, it's even darker. And so, yep, there's no precautions that you need to worry about.
That is good to know because, yeah, we want everybody to be safe. And especially with it coming closer towards sunrise, just of
Hmm.
course, no looking at the sun once that comes up. We'll just
Hmm.
enjoy the eclipse and then get on with our day.
That's right. And it scares the werewolves away.
Ah, that's a good little fun fact. Is there any, because during the solar eclipse, of course, birds, there's some animal changes there. Are there any maybe, nighttime animals that notice a difference during a lunar eclipse, or is it just it's always dark, so there's no difference there?
Well, it is, there are a lot of nocturnal animals, and they do know about the full moon. In fact, lake sturgeon know when it's uh, egg planting season, that they will not lay their eggs in the rivers during a full moon because they want to keep the predators away. So there are a lot of animals that do know. Now, because of the short duration of the eclipse, it's not going to really affect anything. But there are some that might notice and change their behavior just a little bit.
Interesting. That's always interesting to kind of see how all of those work, but even just when we have a full moon coming in cycle here, that they're going to make that small change. So that's still some interesting facts to know.
A lot of different things happen with the cycles when it
Yes,
comes to light.
everything kind of works in tandem with one another.
Indeed.
But we do appreciate you, though, for giving us a little bit of your time, Mike. And if people want to come to the planetarium, are you guys going to be, open if weather pending for folks to get out there, or maybe even do some other interactive activities for this event?
So if the weather is clear, you'll want to check and make sure. We will be at the planetarium starting at 5 a.m. On that Tuesday morning. However, you can also check our Facebook page to see if it's a go or no go the night before, because if it looks pretty certain that it's going to be cloudy, thank you, Diane, you can help us with that. And then we'll know if it will be able to give people a heads up.
Exactly. And of course, we'll be following that here in the First Alert Weather Center and hoping that we can get that cloud cover out of the way. Maybe a little bit cooler, but it sounds like the views are going to be worth it, even if it is a little chilly
Mhm.
that morning.
And if you absolutely want to try to catch something and it's cloudy here, you can go online. There's probably a lot of live casts from around the country that are going to have it on YouTube, probably. So if you really want to see it in real time, that might be a good way.
That's a good point. One of the perks of the internet.
There it is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mike, and hopefully we have some good viewing.
I hope so. We'll keep our fingers crossed.